You don't have to show your face, by the way. You can turn your camera off. It's completely up to you. I don't mind. If you're eating dinner or something like that while we're at it, completely understand as well. Because basically, the fact that you're in the room and listening, that's the most important thing. Everything else is just complimentary. So this is a workshop I designed. It's the 5 steps to heal your relationship with food, be binge free, and release the guilt. So some of these skill sets can be transcribed to other areas of your life as well, because how we do one thing is how we do many. So you may try, whoop, and somebody's just got some noise in the background. Actually, just a housekeeping rule while we're here, to pop yourself on mute unless I have asked you to pop yourself off mute and we can have a conversation. It's just in case there's puppy dogs barking, kids crying, etc., etc., and we can all have this time together. So that's just a little handy hint. We also have a little chat box as well, and throughout the call tonight I will be getting you to pop some things in the chat box. So if you want to give that a bit of a whirl right now, pop in the chat box so that we know that you can work it. Hey Jane, I just saw you jumped on. Sal as well. I'll see if I missed anybody because my camera is... And we're just popping a hi in the chat box so that if those that don't know how to work it can just navigate themselves. And if you do somehow get lost a little bit, that's perfectly fine as well. Okay, so we've got testing. Yep, g'day. Beautiful. Alice, nice to see you. Cool, we've got Karen says hello. Steph, Renee. Beautiful, so we've figured out how to use the chat box, which is good because we'll be using that a fair bit. And those that didn't hear me before, grab a pen and paper as well because we will be writing some stuff down. So this is time out for you. If you can, turn off like phones and things like that, because that way you can get the whole session with us. But I do understand if you're trying to eat dinner and stuff like that, or you do get kids that you need to attend to. I get it. I have a child of my own. And towards the end of the workshop, I will be also sharing a special gift with you for staying through to the end. And if you don't know who I am, I'm Kim Stevenson for Marcus. I have my business Transformations by Kim, and from that business, I look at a 3-step approach to gaining success, and that is looking at your nutrition, your training, and your mindset. Tonight, we're particularly focusing on the mindset. It's not very practical at all in regards to food and that training and that kind of, but it's more your relationship with food. I'm a food relationship coach, also an athlete and an author and coach of 15 years. So a lot of these tools and strategies have been implemented through all of my clients, or they're things that I have done myself. So they're tried and tested. This workshop is for you if you've struggled with binge eating and want to discover how to set yourself free, if you're worried about passing your unhealthy behaviors on to your kids, if you've ever dreamed of stepping into a formal event and being that confident, authentic you, that you've wanted to stop the nasty self-talk, be confident and stop all that self-battering, if you tired of not living the life you deserve and the food demons haunt you, if you struggled to leave the house because you're afraid of what people will think of you or say behind your back, if you're not happy within your own skin and you're embarrassed to go to the gym. It's also for you if you find yourself with your head in the tub of Ben and Jerry's when things go wrong, that you're an emotional eater and you want to change. You're fed up with this behavior. You want to be free. You want to ooze confidence and find your X factor. Then this is for you. We're going to learn how to identify your triggers so that you can stop raiding the cupboards, how you can finally drop the shame, how to stop soothing your emotions with food, and also you don't have to give up chocolate. Find the best way to deal with stress that doesn't include an empty jar of peanut butter, because hands up, I've done that one. We'll also use the hands up function as well because that's a bit of fun as well. If you find along the line something resonates with you, please use the chat box, because that way you can share with the other people what if you go, oh, that's me, etc., etc. It's really good to get some interaction, and that's what that chat box is for. And I'll periodically go back and check that as well. So imagine if you could wake up on Monday morning and feel amazing in your own skin, to be able to wear anything in your wardrobe. And for a lot of my clients, when they start to shift body weight, and you'll hear the word shifting because, or shedding, because when we lose something, we try to find it. So if you're trying to lose weight, guess what? Subconsciously, you're trying to find it. We don't want that. We want to put it to bed forever. So it's fun when clients shed weight because they get to go shopping in their own wardrobe. And it's so much fun to pull on those things that didn't fit. And like me, you've probably spent a fair bit of money. I buy a lot of Q clothes because I'm obsessed with Q, and it costs a fair bit to replace all of that. So for me, that was a big driver to get back into certain clothing so that, and particularly I'll tell a story about my size 12 Jackie E pants, because I used to be a size 16, which when you're 5'1", that is a different body shape definitely to what I have now. Okay. Also imagine if you could be a positive role model to your kids, and this is a huge driver for a lot of my mum clients, showing them how to have a healthy relationship with food. For me, it was about stopping that generational emotional eating, and it really hit home to me one day. I was talking to my grandma, and she's 95, and she said, I eat when I'm happy, I eat when I'm sad, I eat when I'm lonely, I always eat. And then my mum does the same, my aunties do the same. And it really hit home that there was this generational cycle of emotional eating. They weren't addressing what's underlying, they were just soothing it with food. And it's really scary when you hear that it's a cycle. And it's all about self worth and self value as well. Imagine if you could love the skin you're in and change your self talk so you become your own cheerleader. I know for me, I had very, very negative self talk but now when I look at myself in the mirror, I speak love and kindness. I like and approve of myself. I've changed that inner dialogue, and that's one of the biggest keys to success is changing that inner dialogue. What you think you do, you create behaviors around that, and that becomes your reality. And what if you could wear that sexy black dress? And I love heels. If you guys haven't realized, that's what my logo is about. And now that I've worked on all my stuff, I walk into a room with confidence. My body language is open and friendly. I make friends with people because people like and are attracted to people with positive energy. They have like a smile on their face, they glow from within. They're really drawn to energy. I know energy is not something we can really put a finger on, but it does exist. And that means that doors open up for me. And in my business, that means I get speaking gigs and different opportunities to work with media. That could look differently to you. It might be something around your career at work because you've gone into the meeting and you had open body language and the boss came and talked to you and you're on that boss's radar and you've had a friendly conversation about all your skills and skill sets and you're confident that when you go for a promotion, they go, oh, I remember so-and-so when I was talking to them at that event. And it just helps those doors open up for you. And that comes from that inner self-confidence. And imagine if you knew your self-worth attracted amazing opportunities, friends, and possible life partners. This was a big one for me. It was a driver because this is the second time around I've been married. And for me, after leaving my ex, it was really important to work on my baggage because I didn't want to attract another person like I had. Because like attracts like. If you're at a lower vibration, if you lack self-confidence, you're more likely to attract someone that's needy and you're going to prop up and it's just going to be a huge drain on you and they may drag you down. You are the sum of the five people that you spend time with. And if you're spending time with your significant other and they are operating at a lower level to you, then they're going to just bring you down. So for me, working on my demons meant that I knew my self-worth when I went out dating. And that meant I attracted the man of my dreams, who's now my husband. And we have an amazing daughter together. And he's like the best father I could possibly want for my daughter. And that was really important to me because I grew up in domestic violence. And for me, it was about not repeating that behavior of my mom of finding a low-level guy that would possibly abuse my kids. So that's important to me. So I say all this, but I wasn't always like this. So let's rewind to the 2011 version of me. And I got delivered Crisco hampers, and there was 100 fun-sized chocolates that were meant to be for my 30th birthday. And I sat and ate 50 of them in one hit. It was very common for me to soothe my feelings with food because I was trying to push down everything, my childhood coding, and I'm going to talk more about childhood coding, my marriage that had broken down, my poor self-worth, everything. I was also training obsessively in the gym 20 hours a week. It's like basically a part-time job, doing endless hours of cardio. And then on the weekends, I was undoing all of that with binging. I was so ashamed because I was teaching women about nutrition and training and then stopping by the service station to get some binge food on the way home. Or I'd go out with girlfriends and feel like a fraud because I'd eat the salad or the healthy option, whatever was on the menu, and then on the way home get the peanut butter or the chocolate or the veggie chips, and in my house eat alone while no one was watching. I had a client that once said to me, it was more embarrassing for someone to see her do her binging episodes than if someone posted a naked pic of her on the internet. That's how much shame binge eating can bring about. And I know what that's like because I've been there. So, like everybody else, I thought that you just had to be more disciplined, you had to train harder, just try harder. And I was completely wrong. It was my childhood coding that was letting me down. It was undoing all this hard work, and this was all from an unconscious level. At my lowest point, I was doing bodybuilding, and I got to my stage weight of 46 kilos, and I didn't believe I deserved success. So then I binged that week of comp and undoing all my hard work. And I'd already a couple of weeks to a month prior to that started using laxatives again. And that was from my childhood. That was a behavior I had in my childhood when I went through bulimia and anorexia. And for me, that was my rock bottom to go, I'm doing that behavior again. And taking laxatives, it's not a nice thing at all, as you can imagine. And for me, that was my rock bottom. And we all have to hit that rock bottom before we change. So I had tried counseling, I had tried psychologists, and it's not that they're wrong. They were the wrong type for me. And I've got a few clients that have both me and a psychologist. And I don't work hand in hand with them, but we work on alternate stuff and it works really well. For me, it was the life coach that gave me tools and strategies that enabled me to move forward. And they're some of the tools and strategies I share with you today. So they do work. So I set myself free. Now I haven't binged since 2011. I represent Australia in powerlifting and stay within 2 kilos. I have had a baby, so I'm now sitting at 65 kilos and a little bit over sometimes, depending on fluid. But most of the time it's 63 kilos and within that 2 kilos. I've worked through all my childhood trauma, met the man of my dreams, married and have our beautiful daughter. I work for myself, and every day I get to change people's lives. I've silenced that voice of self-sabotage and live a life I truly love. I'm happy for my soul and have inner confidence and know my self-worth. So let's look at some different definitions around binging and disordered eating and orthorexia. And if you haven't heard that one, I'll explain that one to you as well. This is just to give you a bit of a background and so that you might be able to identify you in any of these kind of scenarios. And first of all, I do want to give you a little spiel on stress. So stress is the enemy, and this is one of the areas that we look at through coaching is how to bring down your cortisol levels. Why is that important? So when our body is in fight or flight response mode, the fastest absorbing macro into the body is carbohydrate. And then if we don't have any carbohydrate in our body will then turn to our muscle stores. So all that training you've done in the gym becomes null and void because you are looking for carbohydrate, none of that available. Let's chew your muscle stores, depleting your metabolism as well. And your body won't even touch your fat stores because it needs the fastest absorbing macro into the body. Then people come to me, well, I can't shift that tire around my belly. I can't do this, I can't do that. And they haven't looked at their stress. So stress and anxiety, and the stress and anxiety from binging is creating more stress. And it's like this ongoing cycle. So when people tend to seek high calorie, high fat foods in periods of stress, and then when people are stressed, their bodies store more fat than when they are relaxed. So that's a study on obesity. 49% of adults reported feeling disappointed in themselves after having overeaten and unhealthy foods. 46% report feeling bad about their bodies, and more than a third say they feel sluggish or lazy. Because usually you're not binging on Brussels sprouts when you're binging. I know I wasn't. So binge eating disorder. So this is where we're having a look at, okay, what are some of the behaviors, so you might be able to identify if that's you. And it can also be binge drinking or binge shopping as well. I do come across that as unresourceful behavior as well. So eating large amounts of food in a short period of time, loss of control over what you're eating, and you may not be able to stop. Eating very quickly, eating when not physically hungry, or continue to eat when you're full to the point of feeling uncomfortable. The feeling of guilt and shame around the foods that have been eaten, and usually occurs at time of stress, anger, boredom, or de-stress. And at such times, binging is using as a way to cope with challenging emotions. And often this behavior is very secretive and choosing to eat alone. I know mine was, definitely. Disordered eating can have a destructive impact on a person's life, and it reduces your ability to cope with different situations, especially stressful ones. So disordered eating is fasting or chronic restrained eating. For me, that was 800 calories. Skipping meals, binging, self-induced vomiting, restrictive dieting, unbalanced eating, so reducing certain food groups or not eating carbohydrates or fats, etc., using laxatives, diuretics, steroids, or using diet pills. And then orthorexia. Orthorexia is having so many food rules, and I did this where it came down to the fact that I was just eating fish, chicken, and green veggies. I couldn't eat fats. I wouldn't allow myself to eat fats. I wouldn't even eat sweet potato. And goodness me, I'm definitely not rice or pasta or anything like that. So it starts with a small food rule, and then there becomes more and more and more food rules. And you may eliminate entire food groups such as dairy or grains without having an intolerance. So if you have an intolerance, I get that. Fat or sugar or salt. And it's just that obsessive nature about healthy food, but it's not really a healthy headspace because it's hiding something else. So I'm going to give you an opportunity to pop some stuff in the chat box because I want this to be interactive. Do you see yourself in any of this? And by the way, this is a confidential space, so please use this time to just be real and authentic with yourself, but also authentic to the people around you. And then whatever gets said here doesn't get repeated to the outside world. So if you want to talk a little bit about your food journey on our chat there, did you identify yourself? Did it ring home as to who you are? And we've got a few people. Did you see your own behaviors in there? Oh, Veronica's also on. Hi, Veronica. Hi, Michelle. Great to hear you guys. Steph, the orthorexia for sure. When I first lost a lot of weight, I did it in an unhealthy and unsustainable way, and I was very restrictive. There's been a lot of work to undo, and you've done that. We've slowly built up your macros so that you are able to do that. You should be very proud of what you've done. Karen, I've definitely binged, and eating was not and binged when not hungry, and eating when not hungry. Because some people are not even aware what binge eating behavior is, or the term orthorexia. Like when I first heard that, I'm like, oh wow, that's me. I get a few other people chatting. Michelle, I see parts of me in all of them. Yep, over the years. That was a hi, Kim. Renee, definitely history of binge eating, particularly when managing difficult emotions, and also have exercise and limited energy intake. Oh, and that one's another one is over exercising as well. Related to most of what was shared. struggle with during lockdown with the stress of working from home, parenting, kids online learning, and husband in the office. Yep. Especially chocolate. 3 months lockdown equals 5 kilos gained. Yeah. Often eat when not hungry, often just as something to do. Yep. Or a temporary distraction. Avoid lunch at school and used to hide my lunch before I could bin it. Yes. My story was that I'd eat 2 rice cakes a day because I saw that in Dolly magazine, and that's how you lose weight. And then I was fainting, and my mum takes me to the doctors, and they put it down to a dust allergy. I don't know why you wouldn't ask what a teenage girl is eating. Like, to me, that's red flags if she's fainting. Most certainly can tick off almost everything when it comes to orthorexia and restrictive behaviors. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for sharing. And it just helps to know that you're not alone as well. So you may think that it's all about training and just being more in control, or going from one diet to the next because that one's not working. And I've done it too. Like, I've done intermittent fasting, keto, paleo, diet pills, fat blaster tablets, if you remember those from the 90s, Weight Watchers, starvation. I just shared my 2 rice cakes story. Uh, and it's not about the diet. That's just the cover story. It's about the hurtful stories or your coding that becomes storage on your body. So think stories, hurtful stories are storage on your body as body fat. So even if I had the magic wand and I waved it and made you your ideal body shape, you would still sabotage it because it's in your unconscious mind. It's about your thoughts and beliefs about yourself. Uh, and that's why you need to discover what are your unconscious reasons why. And then when you do discover that and start to really unpack a lot of those stories, beliefs, thoughts, and behaviors, the weight comes off like magic. Like one of my clients, Michelle, she has started to work on her mindset stuff, and the weight is just falling off her. It's amazing. And she's doing really awesome in her job, and she's creating abundance in her business. Everything's happening because she's dealing with the thoughts and beliefs and the stories and all that childhood coding. So another key mistake I see is that clients don't recognize what they were taught as a child about food and how that impacts their relationship with food now. So, what are some common things you might have been taught to eat everything on your plate? Or, as one of my clients used to come down and find her parents binging on packets of biscuits and chips and lollies while watching TV. So, she learnt that food is secretive and to binge. Or another client, they'd have issues in the family, and then mum would go sulk off into the bedroom and coax the daughter to come with them, and she'd eat blocks and blocks of chocolate watching soppy movies. So that's another area where that client learnt to binge. For me, growing up in domestic violence, my mum was under a lot of control, and then we'd go into town alone, and my mum would buy finger buns and cream buns and these little custard tarts, and would sit there in the car and binge on it because she was so used to being controlled and told that she couldn't eat that food. So for me, I learnt that it's okay to binge, that that was normal because that's what my mum did. And our mum generally is the first person that we look up to. Things like being dragged off to Weight Watchers classes when you're 9 years old. I've heard those stories. So there's so many things that we take on from our parents, and particularly our mothers, around food. And one of the saddest stories I hear is a little boy standing in the corner, and this just highlighted to me that boys aren't immune to this childhood coding. And the mum finds the boy eating chocolate in the corner, and she's like, "What are you doing, son?" And he's like, "Well, mummy, you eat chocolate in the corner." And it's just like, oh, wow, now you're coding your child with the same behavior that you've learned from your mother. So these are the drivers as to why some clients want to change. But we really need to pull out, and we're not going to do the exercise today, but I'm going to suggest that you do it at some stage. Pull out your journal and just really go through your childhood and look at, well, where did I learn that this was okay? Or what was the first episode of binging? Or Did I get teased at school and then mum told me that we'll make everything better by going to the ice creamery? There could be any number of stories from your childhood. And the best way to detox that is to get a pen and paper, journal, and sit with it and really look where that childhood coding has come from. And when you unpack all your stories around food and the childhood coding, then you have the power to change your future. You are not your past. So we're going to actually start with a few activities, and these come from my online course, which is 7 Steps to be Binge Free Forever. And we're going to only touch the surface because that course has 33 worksheets, 43 videos, and lots of other helpful tools and strategies to go deeper. But I just want to touch on a few of them. And the first one I want to talk about is childhood coding. So I'll use myself as an example. We are coded from the ages of 0 to 7, a lot of our thoughts and beliefs, and then we spend the rest of our lives trying to find evidence to back up that thought and belief about ourselves. So I'll give you mine and I'll run through just quickly, because otherwise we'll be here for ages, around what my coding was. So my biological father left when I was 2. Then I believe that, and because this is coding, this is childhood coding, you can't judge the childhood version of you. You can't judge mini me because she didn't have the emotional awareness that you have now. So childhood me goes, I'm not worthy of success, love, or happiness. I have to be perfect for everybody to love me. Then I think I was 5-year-old, I broke my sandals and my mum got really angry. So for me, I made the thought and belief I had to be perfect for everybody to love me. I had to be the good little girl. And so I went through primary school being the good little girl, got to high school, again, trying to be the good little girl, get straight A's, top of the class. Then I got bullied for being smart. And I was in a public school where they didn't really applaud academia. So I got bullied really badly. And then, well, okay, being smart, square bear, as they called me, wasn't working. So I then decided to take up partying and drinking and screw up my senior year because I'd be liked if I was the rebellious one, because all I wanted was to be liked. So then I ruined my senior year. I didn't get to do psychology. I'm doing life coaching, which obviously is very similar, and I absolutely love it. But it was all from this childhood coding that I had to be perfect for everybody to love me. And I just molded myself into whoever everybody wanted me to be. And then there was a lot more trauma in my teenage years from my biological father. I had an ex-boyfriend commit suicide, and I had all this stuff happening, and I turned to binge drinking. And then in my 20s, it went to binge eating as well. And it's just this chaotic mess of trauma and domestic violence and issues with my biological father and crimes that he committed that I took on as my own. And there's just all this stuff. And it gets to 28, 30, and that's why I'm binging out of control, because I'm trying to soothe all these underlying emotions and this thought and belief about myself that I don't deserve success, I'm not worthy, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, and still trying to please everybody. And that's why I did bodybuilding, because there was this pursuit of perfectionism. And if I was perfect and if I had the perfect body, everybody would love me, which meant I was living on 800 calories and doing 20 hours of training and had all my food rules. So it's this chaotic mess. And until I started to unpack all of that and figure out where it all came from and spent time with my therapist, or therapist, she's a life coach, I call her a therapist, I wasn't able to break through. I would have kept going and doing that cycle over and over again. And it wasn't until I got to powerlifting and I was choking on the platform going, I've got this Australian record in training, but why can't I get it on the platform and make it official? Because I put on so much pressure to be perfect. So I had to really start working through all of my stuff. So we do hit rock bottom, and from there, that's when we start and to change our thoughts, behaviors, beliefs. So I'm going to get you to take out your journal, and this is the interactive part, and we're going to do some of the worksheets from the online course. The first one, which is forgiving yourself for all the negative self-talk. So we're going to use both the chat box and your journal. I want you to write out all the negative self-talk and all the body shame. So pop it in the chat box. And this is the part that breaks my heart, is hearing how some of you talk to yourself. And I've almost forgotten what it's like to be so horrible to myself. I used to be this horrible. So it might be, I'm fat, I'm lazy, I'm not good enough. You're a failure. Why do you even bother? Because you just fail again and again and again. So we both write it down and pop maybe one or two in the chat box. I'm fat, you're not good enough. How stupid are you for eating that? When will you learn? Yeah. You're never going to be any good. You'll never have the body you want. You're disgusting. Wow. No matter how hard I try, I'm never going to achieve XYZ. Yep. You'll never change. You're just a fraud, a lazy cow. You don't try hard enough. I have no self-control. And we're pretty mean to ourselves. So spend some more time writing that in your journal. Why can't I prioritize needs? Why can't I prioritize needs, including health? I don't say no to food. Yep. Okay, now we're going to, so if you want to mark that for homework, is to continue with that list and just get it all out. And then the next one we're going to do is forgive for all the unhealthy diets, training, and disordered habits. I didn't do this one myself, but there were girls that would eat cotton balls to make themselves full when I was doing sports. I did bodybuilding, but there were sports models that would eat cotton balls. I did eat a lot of psyllium husks as a way to try and fill up my tummy, which is not nice either. And then if we're thinking things like the grapefruit diet of the 90s, the lemon detox diet, isogenics, meal replacements. Weight Watchers does have a purpose, but it just seemed to be very low calorie when I did it. But at least they had a focus on eating healthy food because that was point-free food. So pop down some of your unhealthy diets. Could just be simply starvation. Because if we don't forgive and release this, and this is why writing it down has a lot more power, because you're getting it out of your head, you're getting it out of your unconscious, and you're forgiving and releasing that old behavior, that bad behavior. The next one, forgive all the people who modeled unhealthy behavior. So my mom, the girls at school. Forgive for all the people for the nasty or mean, inappropriate things said. My biological father told me I was fat. I didn't need dessert because I had a fat roll. I'm just like, you meant to be my father. What the hell? The boy in school that told me my butt looks big in the formal school uniform that I never wore again because I was told my butt looked too big. The neighbor that told me I was too fat to do gymnastics. Starvation as a form of control. A lot of hungry, sad days from no food. Yep. Jenny Craig. Oh, the cabbage diet. Yes. Eating off small plates. Israeli army diet. I think that's like oranges one day, something the next, something the next. I remember correctly. There's a yep to that. Somebody has obviously done that as well. Yeah. We've done, as women, we've done some pretty crazy things to our bodies. And then the next one is forgive for all the shame and disrespectful actions towards your body. So for me, that's forgiving myself for the laxatives, for the starvation, for the binging, the obsessive exercise. Every diet under the sun, trying to exist and train hard on hardly anything. Yep. For me, the 800-calorie diet, the 20 grams of carbs a day, which is just what you get from green vegetables, and that's it. So if you want to take a screenshot of any of these slides, please do so. And I can certainly, by all means, email the slides to you after our session as well, so that you can continue with some of this in your own time, because you'll come up with other things as well. And that's why I like the interaction, is because then somebody might go, oh, that's right, I tried that diet, or that's right, I did that thing. So it helps hearing other people's stuff. Okay, the next one we're going to do is, on your page, have 3 columns, so 2 lines down the page. And we're going to name all the emotions that you commonly soothe with food. And then corresponding with that is, where do you feel it in your body? Because if we can create an association with the body, you can then preempt it happening. So let's say it's stress and overwhelm. If you feel it fuzzy in your head, that's usually where I feel it, then that's that pre-awareness, because awareness precedes change. When you become aware of where in your body, you can change it and do a resourceful activity instead of turning to food. And then that corresponding emotion that you usually soothe with food, you're going to write down the resourceful activity that you do instead. And then you can pop it in the chat box. So I'll do an example. For me, overwhelm, uh, in my head, and then uh, making a doona cave is a great way for me to deal with overwhelm. Feeling down, I feel that in my stomach. And then go for a walk listening to something motivational on YouTube. Uh, okay. Anxiety, tummy butterflies, and going for a walk. Sadness is in the chest. Renee, what would be the resourceful behavior you do when you feel sadness? Mine is stress and overwhelm too. I feel it in my head and also in my stomach. I try to go for a walk, listen to a podcast, or talk on the phone with a friend. Absolutely. Uh, Sadness, I'm feeling in the chest and listening to music. Absolutely. Anxiety, that's felt in the head and the chest and doing some knitting. Validate sadness, absolutely. And that's possibly journaling about it as well. Anger is another one. That might be like a hot red face kind of feeling, and that could be punching your pillow. And we don't have to do negative. It was a realization to another client that when she's happy, she actually binges as well. So it might be so it might be happiness, you might feel that in your heart, and then a resourceful behavior might be rewarding yourself with something, as long as it doesn't turn into binge shopping. Yep, that's me too, as someone else said. What other unresourceful behaviors or emotions do you soothe with food? For me, particularly, I got angry with my mum. Hashtag mum stuff. I still have stuff to work on, unlike everybody else. And for me, I went and flipped and this is that pivotal moment that I knew that I'd broken through from the binging behavior. I knew if I went home, I would find something in my pantry. It would be protein powder mixed with peanut butter or something really horrible, and I'd just be binging, even though there wasn't much in my cupboard. And I chose to keep driving and went to the gym to flip a tire because I knew that I was angry. And that was that moment that I broke that cycle of emotional eating, feeling the emotion, and then doing something resourceful with it. So I'm not saying that to not feel these emotions. It is okay to feel emotions. What's not okay is when you eat them. So you don't want to be eating our emotions. You can feel them by doing another activity. So you might still feel sad on your walk, and that's perfectly okay. Boredom, I feel it in the legs and I can't sit still. It's always a good sign to go to the gym. Absolutely. Inside of my pantry and at the peaks of my binging, I'd have what I call a distraction list. So you might want to write that one down as homework, is putting a distraction list. And it was a list of activities that I could do if I was bored. And usually if we're opening up the cupboards and we're channel surfing on the shelves, we're bored. We're not actually hungry. Bored, frustrated, rush, excited, and I'll eat that. So walk in the garden, absolutely. Nature, ground yourself in nature. Might be something like diamond painting. I started diamond painting as a way to use my hands. So it can be something physical, or it can be something you can do at home as well. So again, keep going with that one at home. So as you come up with more and more emotions, and where do you feel it in the body, always anchoring where you feel it in the body, and then what resourceful activity will you do instead? And this becomes your blueprint of how to change your behavior. Okay, step 3, stop drinking the poison and stop hurting. So when we hold grudges against other people, they're probably going on in their merry life and have no idea and don't realize that you're punishing yourself by drinking the poison, or i.e., eating the food. So I want you to write out a list of all the people that have done it wrong by you. Could be your parents, could be your siblings, could be your bosses, your work colleagues, your friends, the bullies, the random guy, the stranger's hurtful comments, everyone. So I'm going to give you a couple of minutes to write out that forgiveness list. And then we're going to brainstorm some ways to forgive and let go. I'll give you a couple of moments to write out the list. And you don't have to share that one if you don't want to, because obviously for privacy reasons, we don't want everybody's name. The forgiveness is hard. Is that right, Karen? Oh, what list are we on to? So I'll just go back to, so this one is all the people that have done wrong by you. So the previous one to that was the 3 columns, and you're writing out your emotions, where do you feel it in your body, and the resourceful activity to do instead. And if you haven't done that one yet, you can just write it as homework. And then the next list is all the people that have done wrong by you. And then we're going to pop in the chat box, what are some ways to deal with this? So people have done forgiveness letters to these people, and they have a lot of power. I had a particular client, she only just started shifting centimeters after 6 months at least of just sticking to her macros, but she could always undo it with her binging behavior. And I'm like, okay, where does this come from? What's the origin story, or what's your childhood coding around it? When investigating, and it's hashtag mum stuff. So she wrote a forgiveness letter to mum, even though mum's no longer with us. And for her, that was that releasing of stories that released the storage of body fat on her body. So that's important, that you do these forgiveness letters, forgive these people. And you might want to do some ceremony around burning them. Permitting we don't have fire bans, please don't do things if you have fire bans. Uh, Burying them in the backyard as well. You might do a little prayer. You might send them healing energy. Now, I'm not saying that we condone their behavior. Like, I've done one to my biological father, and I don't condone his behavior at all, but it enables me to be neutral, because then it's not eating at me. Burning is good, yes. Burn the letter, yep. Something cathartic about burning stuff. Oh, another client did was a place in Canberra where you get to break a whole heap of stuff. So she did her letter and then went to this, I think it's called Breaker or something. And if you're not in Canberra, there's other places that do this where you can just smash plates and vases and cups. And they actually, I think they use the stuff for mosaics and stuff afterwards. So it's not all going to waste, or it goes to recycle. But you get to smash stuff. Axe throwing would be another way to get rid of the emotion after you've done the letter. For Karen, forgiving them means what they did was okay. I don't believe that forgiveness is, or it could be the other way around, is forgiving yourself for allowing that person to treat you like that. So it might be forgiveness to yourself for not having strong boundaries, forgiveness to self for allowing that person to treat you like that, or not educating them that you will not tolerate that behavior. So it might be the forgiveness to yourself, which is more important. But if you don't forgive, unfortunately, it will fester and fester like a wound and never get cleaned out. And then, trust me, from my own experience, you will soothe it with food. And for me, it's about becoming neutral. So I have very neutral feelings about my biological father, even though he committed some horrendous things. For me, it was allowing myself not to drink the poison and hope that he dies. Not literally, because I'm not like that. But that's what happens if we don't forgive. Letting go might be a better way of thinking about it, yeah. In the shower, in the car, in the beach, water, absolutely. I'm a big one for water, which means it washes away, like that's symbolic about it, washing away. One of my biggest learnings is that I'm only one who can create my own closure. Absolutely. Relying on the other person to validate your experience gives your power away. For me, validating my experience validated the hurt of the inner child, and furthermore, forgiving myself for that part, poor boundaries, people pleasing, repeating patterns, not speaking up, etc. Yep. So forgiving yourself for all of that. Beautiful. Okay. The next one, we're going to a little bit more positive. So think of, and it may be around binging, it may be around creating your ideal body shape, committing to the gym. What is your overall goal? And you're going to write 15 reasons why. Now, in my book, I make you do 30, because the more that you go deeper, you get more into the emotional buy-in and the big reasons why that will completely drive you. And you'll be surprised what comes up from the unconscious brain as well. So think of your goal. You can share it in the chat box if you want. And then you're going to write out 15 reasons why, and you're going to share with us number 14 or 15. is it that you want to achieve your particular goal? So pop your goal up in the box and then go to your 15 reasons why. To be a better role model. Yes, that's one of my drivers now that I have a daughter. To be strong. Yes. And then do your 15 reasons why. Accomplished. To achieve more. To be who I was born to be. I like that. Very powerful. To have inner peace and personal empowerment. Yes. Stop wasting time on thoughts that you use it more productively. Absolutely. That headspace, the head miles, if you're using it on something negative, imagine what you could do with it if you're positive. To manage my state, yes, and to be adventurous. Beautiful. Okay. So again, you can finish that one for homework if you want. We're going to talk a little bit about RAS, so reticular activating system. This is where attention goes, energy flows, and results follow. So I like to use the analogy driving along and you've bought a brand new car and suddenly there is that brand new car, let's say it was a BMW, and suddenly there were BMWs all over the road. It wasn't the fact that there was a huge sale and everybody went out and bought them, but it's because your reticular activating system is honed in on BMWs, so you see more of it. The reason why our brains do this is we receive 7,000 bits of information at any given time. Then we delete, distort, and generalize information according to our map of the world, our value system, our childhood experience exactly. And it's like your reticular activating system is the nightclub bouncer, and it's going to start to let certain things in, but not everything. And otherwise, your brain becomes so overcrowded and you just can't think. Imagine if we were like getting those 7,000 pieces of information in our logical brain, it just would have a huge volcano effect. So, your RAS is a bunch of nerves at the back of your brainstem that filters out any unnecessary information so that we focus on what's important. So this is kind of like a superpower, and we want to use it to the best of our ability. So how can we do that? For me, way back when I was size 16, I had a pair of size 12 Jackie E pants and I hung them on my cupboard, and that was the reason I got up every morning. And that created a superpower as to why I wanted to get out of bed. It was this something physical in my physical world that I saw every day, and that's why I had to eat healthy. That's why I had to go out and train. That's why I had to really step up and be who I was meant to be. So it's about creating that visual anchor, but there are some other ways. So it can be changing the passwords on your laptop, let's say, because you sign into your laptop every day or your work computer, or changing the names of your bank accounts if you're saving for certain things. It might be towards your goal. Mine is a holiday in Italy because I want to go on a family holiday to Italy. So changing your passwords, having post-it notes on your computer. I've used my goals on the sun visor of my car. So every time, because I jump in my car every day, and that was what I was working towards. So It's funny, it was an 85-kilo bench, a 120 squat, and a 150 dead. I ticked those off within 3 years of powerlifting. Now I've been powerlifting for 9 years. It could be a piece of jewelry, or it's particularly Pandora bracelets as well. They're good because you get the little charms that mean certain things. So what are some ways that you can bring your goal every day into your life? Pop it in the box. Pop it in the chat box. Might be upgrading your underwear because you're worthy. For another client, she had these bright squat heels, and she used to have them on her kitchen bench because that was a reminder of her powerlifting goals that she was working towards. Steph, putting it in my phone as a lock screen. Absolutely. The lock screen on my phone is of the hotel I want to stay in Italy. Vision boards, absolutely. That's why vision boards work. I do have a vision board app on my phone because I'm not in my office as much as I used to with the bubba. So I have a vision board app on my phone that I look at. You could use music as well. You could have a certain song that plays for your alarm. What are some other ways to bring your goals into your conscious mind every single day? So we're using your reticular activating system. If you want a particular car, you might go out and get the key ring of that particular car. Put up photos of me competing triathlons and doing Tough Mudder on the wall of my garage where my gym is. I love that. Your fridge as well. Whiteboard marker on your vanity mirror. Do my vision board on index cards and look at them like flashcards. I love that with Luanda. She's got these little cards, like the kind of ones that you used to use for study, and they're flashcards, and she can change them according to whatever her goals are. And it's also space saving, and you can look at them every day. If you put them beside your bed, you have a ritual about looking at them every single day. And they can be taken with you when you travel, absolutely. Especially like if you're going away on holidays and you have a tendency not to eat so well, that can be that reminder that you need. Okay, keep those coming and we'll go through them. Okay, so the two things that will depict your future are the images that you see in your mind and the language that you use. That's Marissa Peer. She's got an amazing book called I Am Enough. If you want a really good book on mindset and how to, it talks further about childhood coding, besides my book, of course, then grab that book. So what are some ways to use mantras as ways to reprogram your brain? I'll pop some. I like this from Karen. Pay yourself, put money into an account where you hit milestones and spend it when you hit your goal. Absolutely. I am worthy is another mantra I use a lot of. We're going to flip through a few, but I just want to hear some from everybody else. And then when I'm flipping through them, feel free to screenshot as well. I'm moving forward. Yes. Onward and upward is another one I use. Yes, you did a good job. I like that. Pat yourself on the back. Go me. I have a powerful mind. Yes. I am strong. You've done this before. You can do it again. Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to share a few. I am enough. That is my favorite. I am worthy. It's safe to be visible. This is a big one for anybody that will sabotage themselves because they don't think it's safe to be visible. I will always do my best. Do what you do not change, you choose. I have phenomenal coping skills. Everything is figure outable. Marie Folio actually writes a book about that one. Really good book. Her quote is that one. It's safe for me to be abundant, especially if your childhood coding is around scarcity like mine was. Good food, good company. I use this a lot when I go out to restaurants. So once my butt leaves that chair, the good food, good company is over. So that means that I can't go home and binge. I'd never eat pizza alone for that reason, because I need to be in good food, good company. I like and approve of myself. And then the upgraded version of that is I love and approve of myself. I deserve success. New me, old me. It's really good for changing behavior. I use that one a lot when I was breaking through my binging. Just do it. Thanks, Nike. What else have we got? We can do hard things. Yes. Any others that you came up with? Again, if you didn't get a chance to write them all down, I can send through the slides as well. Okay. The last one that we're going to share, and this is more about you guys listening and just taking some notes, it's how to coach yourself through journaling. And as we've discussed tonight, it's about getting everything out of your head and onto paper. So people go, well, how do I journal? And it's like, there's no right or wrong. It's just starting somewhere. And it preferably pen and paper because it has more power. But if you're more likely to use your phone to get everything out of your head, then certainly do that. You can use Google Docs, or there are a few different apps as well. So the first one is always a visualization, and I do this at the end of the year, and it's called See Yourself as You Choose to Be, and it's a visualization of what my life's going to look like 12 months from now, and I go through everything. So my career, money, work, competing, relationships, hobbies, all the areas in my life, and I write it in the future and positively. So you might wish to use like the Wheel of Life as a way to trigger some of those thoughts processes around what you would like to choose your life to be like. And that, again, it's about that reticular activating system. What are you focusing on so that you can create a reality around it? And the most powerful part was when I did this in 2014 and I said, I will meet a dark featured man that challenges me. Well, my husband is Greek and definitely challenges me, because I wanted someone that was going to pull me up on my stuff, not just be a walk all over like my ex-husband. The other thing that you can put in your journal is your done wells. So that's patting yourself on the back and writing down things that you've achieved, whether that be over a month or just an ongoing list, because as women, we don't pat ourselves on the back enough. Writing down all your strengths, and this helps for those days that you are feeling low. If you're feeling low and feel like you want to binge, it's a good idea to pull out your journal and read through your strengths. What's the learning? And one of my favorite sayings is there's no such thing as failure, only feedback and learning. So it's, well, what was the trigger? Why did I choose this behavior? What was really, really going on for me? The binging is just a cover story. It's never actually about the binging. What will I do differently next time? So it's always about seeing and doing things differently next time, because that's how change happens. You might have a page for your quotes, and we just went through a whole heap of them before. Quotes or mantras, and then an assessment on the Wheel of Life. And if you want that worksheet, just flick me a message and I can send the worksheet of Wheel of Life to you, and rating in your life the different areas. And you might do that every quarter so that you can go, well, okay, I need to improve in my relationship. So how are we going to do that? Are we going to do date nights? Are we going to find a relationship counselor? What is it that I need to do there? Or I haven't spent enough time on fun and recreation. What's a new class that I can try? So it's just looking at life and creating a more balanced life than being a clunky wheel. Notes and learnings from books and podcasts and courses, because happiness in life is achieved through two things: growth as a human being and living according to your values. So writing down anything that you're learning helps you just really cement it in your brain. And you might create a list of courses and books and things that you want to read or do. So there might be courses down the track that you want to do. And then another one might be an accountability part. Like, it's like a sticker chart that you use for children. They work. I've done them myself, a little star chart. And it might be tracking certain behaviors. So for me, it was every time I hit my macros, every time I did my training, and every time I did my glute work, meant I got stars. And every 30 stars, I got to buy a piece of clothing. Yes, I am obsessed with clothing. I love clothes. So for me, rewarding myself, because as human beings, we either move towards pain, towards pleasure, or away from pain. Having that reward is enough of a carrot to dangle towards doing the positive behavior. And it might be just a tick flick list, or it could be stickers, or whatever it is that you want to track your new behaviors. So that's another thing to put in your journal. So there's lots of different things. Is there anything that I missed that you would put in your journal? Forgiveness letters. Actually, I didn't write that one down. Forgiveness letters are important. They can go in your journal, unless you want to burn them. Then you may not want to rip the pages out of your journal. Veronica has got something. Yep. Gratitude list. Yes, I missed that one. That's because I have a separate journal for gratitude. I have a gratitude journal. I have lots of journals for different things. You might use it as an opportunity to go through some of your homework that we talked about tonight. Your 30 reasons why. Okay, so we've only scratched the surface of what I've got available in the 7 Steps to Quit Binge Eating Forever. As I said, it's 43 videos, 33 worksheets, and numerous other deep dive activities, including 2 bonuses on relationships and money. And all the areas of your life we address, especially when the reason why I've got the bonuses about relationships and money, they can be a cause or a trigger for binging. So I need to address that, as well as all that childhood coding and everything else. So let's hear from some of my clients about the 7 steps to quit binge eating forever. Michelle talks about her mindset breakthroughs from doing this course. For her, it's I don't destroy myself with negative self-talk like I used to, and I'm showing my children a better version of me. So I've got my camera and stuff in the wrong spot, so I can't read my own slides. We move that along. Okay, Kim not only helped me with weight loss and lifting, it was also about releasing unnecessary garbage from my past that has always destroyed my hard work. Since starting, life has become lighter and easier. My business has grown without me making changes. My vibrations are positive, and I'm attracting clients that are right for me. I'm also expanding my business, which I procrastinated on for 3 years. Hashtag heaps of money, which is really awesome. Like, just growing her business and the money that is now possible and open for her, because she no longer procrastinates, because she doesn't have those stories and thoughts and beliefs that are holding her back. She's really broken through them. And I highly recommend working with Kim to help you with anything that is an issue in your life to become a better version of you. You have nothing to lose, but a lot to gain. And yeah, she's done amazing. The weight is just shifting easily for her. And up until now, until she looked at the mental, emotional side of things, she was stuck. She was stuck in her stories and her storage. For Sue, she's sharing the value that she gets from the group coaching sessions, because not only do we have the online component to 7 Steps to Quit Binge Eating Forever, it's also about the online coaching that happens 7:30 on a Tuesday night, like you are here tonight. I can control what I choose to think about, the uncontrollable. I choose the thoughts and activities that enrich my life. The Skype classes have been invaluable for me during the ups and downs of particularly lockdowns in the past couple of years. Having a community of like minded souls giving me a great feeling of being connected to the outside world during times when it could have been easy to be alone and isolated. And I find with clients, being alone and isolated is a trigger to binging. For Amanda, applying the tools and techniques Kim teaches has been a game changer in my quest to be fitter, stronger, and an all round healthier person. Doing the emotional work has kept me kept me moving forward, breaking self-imposed barriers one by one. Kim never gives up on trying something new in her kit bag of knowledge and personal experience that will help me break through another barrier. So it's about doing the emotional work. I'm here to tell you have to do the emotional work. It's not going to be easy, but it's going to be worthwhile. Imagine if you could stop obsessing over everything that you ate and broke this binging cycle forever. Imagine if you could catch up with friends, feel happy and confident in your own skin. You spend the night being your authentic self and not worrying about what other people are saying or judging you. I'm a bit like a cat. I don't care what other people think of me anymore. Imagine if you could back yourself up, making decisions easily and stop second guessing yourself. What if you could talk to yourself as if you would your own friend? By the way, you know that your own son or daughter is picking up on your unconscious beliefs and thoughts about yourself. So, as you can see from tonight, we've learned how to conquer your emotions and not eat them, how to overcome shame so you can truly love yourself. That's that forgiveness work. How to choose a different future as you are not your past. How to diffuse stress instead of eating it. And now you can take it and implement it and try and figure this stuff out on your own the long way. Or you can let me help you and you can fast track and heal your relationship with food, be binge free, and release the guilt. So, how many of you are going to need some help with this? You have three choices. You can do nothing about it and continue to struggle with your food demons and repeat the behavior over and over again. You can try and do it on your own, or you can allow me to walk beside you and fast track this towards self confidence, self love, and having the life that you deserve. You are worthy and ready for the next step. The next step is 7 steps to quit binge eating forever. It's a 12-week program designed to help you have an empowered relationship with food so you can be binge free, confident, have the inner strength to conquer all areas of your life and live the life you deserve. There's 33 worksheets, more than 43 videos, a weekly Skype chat, all self-paced. So you can take your time going through it. Yes, it might be 12 weeks, but you'll have access to it for the rest of your life. You are worthy of success and you can take the next step. So in module 1, we discover the unconscious reasons why you emotionally eat so you can create a new future. The 7 empowered eating strategies that lay in your unconscious mind and why you sabotage your results. Find the connection from your childhood coding and how to leverage that for your own power. Finally, make peace with the old you and create the confident, alluring you that is magnetic. Module 2 is how to create pattern interrupts so emotional eating isn't the answer. You'll learn my formula for when a binge eating episode occurs so you can course correct and not fall off the bandwagon. I will teach you the 3 easy steps so when you're possessed by binge eating, you can stop immediately. That's like a very important toolbox to have in your toolbox kit. How to blame elegantly so the past doesn't eat you. How to know your special gifts and what makes you unique. How to shift all unhelpful stories, destructive eating, dieting, and beliefs that are obstructing you from your success. Module 3 is how to develop your emotional toolbox so you're strong, resilient, and go after your dreams. How to set your life up for success emotionally and practically. How to establish habits that serve you. Module 4 is about nurturing yourself in self-love and how to speak to your soul in a way that it can hear and take note. How to love yourself deeply because you are enough. Module 6 is about how to reprogram your brain for long-term success, how rewards motivate and leverage change, how to indulge your senses to create long-term change. And module 7 is how to coach yourself through journaling, and we touched a little bit on that. How to create a compelling future and a vision that pulls you, and know in your heart and soul that you're working towards, so that you create a life that you are passionate about. So we've got set yourself free from your past, module 1. Module 2, discover the truth about your emotions. Module 3, stop drinking the poison and stop hurting. Module 4, be the success that you are meant to be. Module 5, make goals and dreams happen. Module 6, reprogramming your brain to get results. And module 7, which is commit and practice and do the work. So all those modules, that's the total value of 1,979. Then there's also the bonus modules on how to have a magical relationship with your partner and money mindset. Plus, there's also, I will be sending out a copy of my Empowered Eating Binge Free Forever book. It is actually a physical book with activities that you can do in there as well. That's worth $619. And then we've got the weekly Empowered Eating Masterclass, 7:30 on a Tuesday night. That's also recorded, so you can go back and watch it if you don't get the opportunity to partake live. The private Facebook support group, that's worth $1,300. And then if you decide to invest in tonight, then you'll also receive 2 life coaching calls valued at $400. So that's a total of 2,319 in bonuses. So the whole value of that program is $4,298, and I'm only just releasing it now. So the first time I'm releasing it, it's not going to be $4,298. It's not going to be $2,000. It's not even going to be $1,000. It is going to be $749. And as I add more and more value, which I'm going to do over, because I love learning, I love teaching, I'm always going to be adding more and more value, the price is going to go up. So the price at this very moment is $749. And then over time, as I add more value, it will not stay at that price. So if you want that price, jump in now before I add more value. And once you sign up, you do have lifetime access. So you will get access to all the new modules and all the new information that comes through. And you'll keep that original price as a once-off payment of $747. So you can go to the PayPal link, which I will send in the chat box, or I'm going to put the QR code up as well if you want to scan the QR code right now. And I'll go to the chat box and put that link. Alice is going to read the book tonight. Awesome. That's this PayPal link there. So that can be credit card or PayPal. And this is what Catherine said. I applied Kim's emotional eating strategies to every aspect of my life. Tiny actions made for huge changes long term. I committed to changing my self talk from critical to compassionate. I stopped avoiding mirrors and started to love myself. I rediscovered what Kim calls my X factor and started to have fun again. I can honestly say that I'm a happier, healthier person as a result. So don't forget, if you take action in the next 20 minutes, you'll get those 2 private one-on-one life coaching calls. And the one-on-one stuff is where I coach from my soul, and it's very personal. It's about you and what is it that you need to break free from. And you might be thinking that you can't invest in yourself. Like Michelle said, once you invest in yourself, you vibrate and attract more money into your life. For me, I invested $30K into my therapist to know that I could be a better version of me, so that I didn't repeat the same behaviors I did in my old marriage and take that into another relationship. And if I hadn't done that, as I said, I would have vibrated differently and just attracted another lower level person. So I stopped the self-sabotage. I stopped the destructive behavior because I invested in myself, and now I have an amazing relationship, and I know that I'm not going to repeat those same behaviors for my daughter. And if you think that time is a concern, a lot of the videos are of me talking. You don't really need to see the visual. You can just listen to it in your car, walking your dog. That's when I do a lot of my learning. I become a student of my car. I'll listen to things while I clean the house or getting my nails done or driving to work. And most of the videos are 15 to 20 minutes. So you can multitask and listen to them. And then our Skype call on Tuesday night, as I said, sometimes people are eating or doing the folding or doing various different activities, but at least they're still in the room taking on the information, because you are worthy of time and you can do things differently. How do you eat an elephant? One spoonful at a time. And that's why each of these worksheets are broken down, and there's 33 of them, because I want you to take the time to do this one spoonful of elephant at a time. Little by little, you can change your behavior and you can move forward. And the worksheets are there to help you create that momentum and to help you keep going. You also have my support, the support of the community, and it is possible. That whole, oh, I'll fail at something again, or I'll just repeat the old behavior. No, we're actually going to learn where that comes from and find your anchor stories and change. But it doesn't happen overnight, as the Pantene ad is, but it will happen. Or Weller or Pantene, I can't remember the ad. But little by little, if you do the work, things will change. But this program isn't for everybody. If you're not ready to do things differently, to go deep inside yourself or to find the answers, if you think that personal development is a waste of time, or if you don't believe that that change is possible and that with the right tools you can, and it's not for you if you don't believe in growth and changing old behaviors. It is for you if you're an action taker, love learning about yourself and doing things differently, and finding out why you do things unconsciously, are willing to break the cycle, want to let go of the old you, ready to step in that space of confidence and happiness and find you again. And if you're willing to change old behaviors and responses, upgrade your thinking and get clear on who you want to be and shine from within. It is possible. You know this is an excellent value. I can help you be binge free. You can have that inner strength. You can ooze confidence. And hopefully by sharing my journey tonight, you can see that it is possible. You can change your old behavior. You are not a product of your past. So if you've got any questions, please pop them below about anything that we talked about tonight. This is the time to pick my brains. Any questions? Cool. So yes, the program is self-paced. You can do it in your own time. You can take longer than the 12 weeks. But if you want to put yourself on a bit of a boot camp, that also works. You can reach out in the Facebook group and talk about your brags. If you want to brag about anything, or you want help, because I don't always have the answers, it might be that popping something up in the group, you'll get a different perspective than mine. There is that ongoing support there. You can message me on Facebook at any time. I'm quite responsive. It may take a couple of hours, but at least I get back to you within that day. So there's always that ongoing support. And if you do require a payment plan, by all means, you can message me and we can set something up. Because this is my business. So I'm not under any other banner. We can arrange something for you. Okay, so I just want to thank everybody for their time tonight, for their input, and for sharing some authentic, real stuff about themselves. And I hope you've got a lot of value out of tonight. You've got some tools, some tricks, some things that you can implement in your own life. And if you haven't followed me on social media, I'm so my private, well, not private, my real life Instagram is Kim for Marcus. Then we've also got the Empowered Eating Mindset, which is for Instagram as well. Facebook, there's copies of my book on my website. The website is transformationsbykim.com. If there's anything else, by all means, just email me, kim@realfit.com.au. You would have received your reminder notices from this course in there, so you've got my email as well. and I got lots of thanks, which is awesome. I also have a YouTube channel as well, Transformations by Kim. If you want more videos and tips and tricks, then go there and watch some more tools and strategies. And thank you all very much for your time. Awesome. Thank you. Bye.